Let's talk about two classic characters from Resident Evil, Jill Valentine and Claire Redfield. Two very different women who exist in the same universe, but who, interestingly enough, never shared a story together in the main games. And that's kind of sad, isn't it? Resident Evil was born on the original PlayStation. Terror, survival, and strong characters. What more could we ask for back then? It wasn't the first horror video game, but it was the one that defined and popularized the survival horror genre as we know it today. Its atmosphere, resource management, and those iconic camera angles left a mark on an entire generation. But let's go back to Jill and Claire. They appear at different moments in the saga, with very different roles, but both represent something essential in the world of Resident Evil. They are not just action characters, they are survivors. Jill Valentine. Jill Valentine is not just a survivor. She is one of the most dangerous people Umbrella ever wanted alive. Born to a French father and a Japanese mother, Jill Valentine grew up with an analytical mind and an uncommon determination. In the early 1990s, she joined the United States Army, where her talent caught the attention of the legendary Delta Force. Even though the unit did not accept women, Jill was trained anyway. She specialized in bomb disposal, lockpicking, surgical precision, and remaining calm under pressure. When she left the military, it wasn't because of weakness, but because she needed more than orders. She needed justice. In 1996, Albert Wesker recruits her in STARS, the elite unit of the Raccoon City Police Department. There, she meets Chris Redfield, forming one of the strongest alliances in the franchise. In 1998, Jill becomes the only woman on Alpha Team, specializing in forced entry. What seemed like a routine mission in the Arklay Mountains turned into a deadly trap. The mansion hid an Umbrella laboratory, the T-virus was loose, and Wesker had betrayed everyone. Jill survives, but Raccoon City was already doomed. Chris leaves, Barry escapes, and Jill stays behind. When the zombie outbreak begins, Jill is trapped in her own personal hell, hunted by a creature designed for a single purpose: eliminate all stars. Nemesis. Jill falls. She is infected, but she doesn't give up. Thanks to Carlos Oliveira, she survives, stands back up, and faces her pursuer one final time. In a city on the brink of destruction, Jill Valentine defeats Nemesis for good and escapes Raccoon City seconds before its total annihilation. Umbrella tried to erase her. The virus tried to kill her, but Jill Valentine survived everything. Because she's not just a survivor, she is Umbrella's nightmare. Claire Redfield. Claire was not a soldier. She was not a police officer. She was just looking for her brother and ended up facing hell itself. Claire grew up with her older brother Chris after the death of their parents. That bond shaped her forever. While Chris followed a military path, Claire chose a different road: college, motorcycles, mechanics. But she also learned hand-to-hand combat, firearms, and lockpicking thanks to her brother. Chris left her more than memories: a STARS knife and a golden lighter, symbols of trust and of a danger yet to come. In 1998, Chris disappears while investigating Umbrella in Europe. With no news, Claire makes a decision. I have to find my brother. She arrives in Raccoon City without knowing the city was already dead. There, she meets Leon S. Kennedy, a rookie police officer as lost as she is. Together, they uncover the truth: the T-virus, zombies, mutations, and a child trapped in the chaos. Sherry Birkin. Claire becomes her protector. She fights the G-monster, finds a vaccine, and saves Sherry when all seems to be lost. Leon promises to take care of the girl. Claire moves on. Searching for Chris, Claire infiltrates an Umbrella facility and is captured. On Rockford Island, she survives another outbreak, meets Steve Burnside, and confronts the twisted Ashford family. The nightmare continues in Antarctica, where Umbrella hid one of its deadliest secrets, the T. Veronica virus. Claire loses Steve, but finally reunites with her brother. Together, they escape as the base explodes and Umbrella loses yet another stronghold. After everything she's been through, Claire does not become a soldier. She joins TerraSave, a humanitarian organization dedicated to helping victims of bioterrorism. Because Claire Redfield doesn't fight for revenge, she fights for people. She never wanted to be a hero, but she became one anyway. The contrast. Jill Valentine was trained for war. She knew exactly what she was facing and chose to stay. Claire Redfield had no military training. She had only one reason: to find her brother and protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Jill is precision, discipline, and survival. Claire is emotion, bravery, and heart. Two different paths, the same nightmare, and the same courage. Why were they never together? Although Jill and Claire exist in the same universe, their stories unfold at different times. Jill belongs to the earliest events in Raccoon City. Claire arrives when everything is already collapsing. That's why in the main games, they never cross paths as protagonists. And yet, I always wondered, what if they had met? Artistic perspective. As an illustrator, that single question sparks my imagination. Jill represents experience, control, and strategy. Claire represents emotion, bravery, and humanity. Together, they could complement each other in a fascinating way. This illustration was born from that idea, imagining a moment we never saw in the games, but that could have existed. It's not canon, it's a personal interpretation. On my Patreon, I explore these ideas with more freedom, playing with alternative versions and scenes I can't show here. If you'd like to support my work and access that exclusive content, you're more than welcome. Resident Evil has always been about survival, and Jill and Claire, each in their own way, are two sides of that same struggle. As a fan, and as an artist, this is my way of bringing those paths together. Thank you for watching this video, and, as always, thank you to my Patreons, Revo Metsis, Joy, CamCam, JPC, Patrick Starfish, SNES88. Thank you, truly. Without you, this wouldn't be possible, and you're the reason I keep creating. Remember, I upload content on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays on Patreon, and I'll try to bring videos like this at least 2 times a month. Let me know in the comments which characters or pairings you'd like to see next. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.